What is going on, traders? In this video, I'm going to go over my expectations heading into tomorrow. But before we get into that, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. Now, heading into tomorrow's open, things do look pretty bullish. And notice how I say tomorrow's open, and we'll get into that a little bit later on in the video. But right now, if we're looking at the SPY on a 2-hour time frame, what do we have here? We have us a bullish engulfing candle. So things do look good heading into tomorrow. Key level here that you want to look out for is 514 to hold. If 514 holds, then you could be looking at more potential upside, and we could see that move towards 520. Now, in my last video, you are free to check it out in case you think I'm lying. But in my last video, I gave you guys two scenarios. The first scenario was that we just continue to run up from whatever that point was that we were at in that video, where we just continue to go higher from here up to 520, 522 range, and then we head down. The second scenario, which seems to be happening right now, is that we break down from there where we were in that previous video, and then we go higher. So it looks like the second scenario is trying to play out. Now, do I think we're going to head all the way up to 525, 530, those key levels? We can't say until the current key levels that we are at are broken above. And right now, key level we're looking at is 518. Okay, as you guys can see right here, there is a lot of resistance in this area here. Let's actually mark it out for you guys. So right here, there is a lot of resistance here. A lot. Okay. We can even make this a zone if we want to go off this wick here. But yeah, a lot of resistance in this area here. So we could see a short-lived rise up in the morning. And the reason why I say that is because the triple Qs are kind of showing us a different story here. So when we're looking at the triple Qs, as you guys can see on the 2-hour, we have what? Another bullish engulfing candle. But I went over this in like the past like 2-3 videos. It still doesn't look convincing for the upside here. It looks like bears are stepping in and gaining control. And I've went over this actually a few times. If we move this out the way here, I'm going to keep going over this in every single video. This trend line here, we've bounced off of it. We continue to bounce off of it over and over again. And then we broke through, bull step back in. We broke through, bull step back in. And then we finally rejected here. And right now, we rejected here, bear stepped in. And as you guys can see, we made a lower high here. Okay. So there is room for concern. So the message still stands. I've been saying this every single video so far, at least the past 2-3 videos, that we need to be cautious, especially heading into tomorrow, because tomorrow is the last trading week. And if you follow all the quad witching stuff and all that crap, then, feel free to, go by that as well. Me, I just go off strictly TA. But again, this is concerning because any other time we've broken above this trend line and bears will step back in. We play this little back and forth game, but this time we rejected it, and we rejected it pretty convincingly. So there is room for concern that we could be seeing more downside in the near future on at least the triple Qs. So again, just be cautious there. But overall, heading into tomorrow morning, if we're just, going off this bullish engulfing candle, whatever the case may be, on the 2-hour time frame, at open, we could be seeing some type of upside. Now, as far as how much upside we get, we can see a move like this, where we just head up to about 442, 443, and then we break down completely. That is a possible scenario. So what is your key levels here? Your key level here is 436. We'll just say 435 because that's our psych level. You break below 435, you're looking at a move towards 433. After 433, that is when things get concerning because as you guys can see, we've been trying our best to hold around 436, and then we've been trying our best even more to hold 433, 433.5, give or take, at around this range. You see it here, here. Let's just mark it out so we can get it out the way. You see it here over and over where we just continue to bounce off 433 and reject it over and over again. So if we give up that level, then there is room for concern and we could potentially be heading towards this gap fill in this area here all the way down to about 425.5, give or take. So be on the lookout for that. So SPY looks better, but triple Qs, I obviously if triple Qs drop, then we'll probably see SPY follow along with it if the Dow Jones just so happens not to hold. IWM, the Russell. So we're seeing the same thing across the board. We're seeing bullish engulfing candles all over the place, okay? At least on the 2 hour time frame. But again, I've said this last two videos actually, that I am bearish on the Russell. And I think the Russell is giving us signs that we could be seeing a potential sell off. Now, how big is that sell off? I don't know. But the Russell is giving us some type of signs that we could be seeing a slight dip or correction, whatever you want to call it. Okay. One thing I will say about the Russell is that anytime we do get bad news, it tends to react a lot, well, more normal than any other ETF. So that is something to pay attention to. Anytime we got bad CPI, PPI data, the Russell just either stagnates or it drops lower. So I am pretty bearish on the Russell. Right now we are in 194 puts for April on the Russell. So check those contracts out. We're currently in profit. We got in at around 205, and then we added more at around 203. So looking really good. But as you guys can see here, we have a head and shoulders pattern on the Russell. You got your shoulder here, head here, another shoulder here. We broke our neckline at around 203.5. So looking really good. Heading into tomorrow, if we do get a bullish open, we could see a retest of around 403. I mean, not 203.5 before that next leg down. Right now, my target on the Russell is at around 193, 194 range. So be on the lookout for that. If we just so happen to break below 200, you're looking at a move towards 198. Let's mark it out for you guys so you guys can see just how serious these levels are. Let's get rid of that. So you guys see here, we bounced. We are continuing to bounce here. We just reject back and forth between 200. So 200 is your next key level to look out for. And even here, we rejected it, and we have a bullish engulfing candle. So tomorrow's open, once again, does look pretty bullish before we could potentially see the next leg down at least on the Russell. Okay, so 198 and then 195 will be my next target after that, which is your psych level. So that's pretty much all I have on the Russell. Let's actually look at the daily time frame. See if I'm missing anything. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got on the Russell. I've been really bearish on this thing lately. So yeah, do with that what you will. Somebody asked me about Amazon. Amazon. So Amazon actually does look pretty good here. The only issue is that it's kind of playing games here. And that can be because of the market or Amazon itself. Amazon has just really been lackluster lately. So right now, as you guys can see, we have us a bull flag on Amazon, and it is currently trying to break. Well, it is breaking out that bull flag. Right here is a little bit concerning. We're currently forming a supply and demand zone here, so that it does leave room for concern, and that's another reason why I say we could just see a short-term upside into tomorrow morning. Okay, so be careful trading tomorrow morning. If you have profit or you're in trades, me personally, I would take profit and call it a day. That's just me. Do what you want with that info. Okay. But right now, Amazon, the breakout was solid. We retested the top of the bull flag. Very solid move there. And then we start to break towards the upside. Key level here that I want to see a break above is 180, but your main level that I would like to see break is 181. We break 181, we're looking at a move towards 184, then 186, and then 188. Okay, that will be my max target as far as Amazon goes. I would just be looking at 188. After that, we'll just play it by sight or ear, whatever. Okay. So that is what I'm looking at as far as Amazon. As far as downside goes, you want to see 177 hold. You break back below 177. You're looking at a move towards 175.4. And after 175.4, you're pretty much going to be back inside this flag. And it will be safe to say that you're you're going to switch to bearish, or I would switch bearish on Amazon. By then, I'm assuming the market will be bearish at that point if we just so happen to break back into this bull flag and this is a false breakout. But right now, the projected move on this breakout is, if it hasn't played out already, is around 182. Okay, 182, 182.5, give or take. So be on the lookout for that. But again, I'm just not a fan of this. I personally would have traded this, but after the retest, but one, we had this doji here, wasn't a fan of that, and then we had this here, and it was okay, but we didn't break past these guys here. We didn't stop these guys out on this candle here. Hopefully, you guys can see that. Let's actually zoom in. But we didn't stop these guys out here, and I've told you guys in multiple videos that wicks tell you where sellers and buyers are, and this wick right here at around 179, they just, we didn't stop them out. And as you guys can see, they're pretty tough. Okay, so I'm not a fan of this. I would have liked to see probably some bigger candles off the retest, but what can you do? It is what it is, right? Tesla. So let's actually go to Tesla's weekly chart. So on Tesla's weekly, you guys see it. We're looking at a potential bull flag, where we are looking at a bull flag here. You got, as you can see, we got lower highs, lower lows, so on and so forth. So I do expect tomorrow to be somewhat of a pullback on Tesla, at least on this weekly candle. Let's zoom in real quick. So on this weekly candle, I do expect a wick to start forming down here on this weekly candle. So we could see a pullback towards 170. That's what I'm looking at as far as Tesla. Not only that, I always forget to go over this or look at this for you guys, but unusual whales. I'm typing in unusual whales. On unusual whales, you type in Tesla. Today we got 175 calls for March 22nd, 170 calls March 22nd. Then you got some puts as well, 150 puts, so on and so forth. Let's look at the premiums. Premiums are pretty juiced here, but what I wanted to really look at heading into tomorrow, if I can find it. Okay, maybe I can't find it. But as you guys can see, we got a lot of calls coming in as well as puts, which could be potential hedge positions. So what this is telling me is that we're expecting or institutions are expecting somewhat of a pullback tomorrow. And when I say pullback, I mean like a bounce back up tomorrow, maybe towards 170, 175. And then the actual real move for Tesla, I mean, this is the real move for Tesla, but the actual rejection back towards the downside, towards about 150, 148. I believe there's a gap around 145, 148 range on Tesla, will actually happen towards next week. So I do believe these call positions are hedge positions heading into tomorrow, but we'll just have to see how tomorrow morning plays out. But yeah, so this weekly candle here, I'm expecting again some type of rejection probably tomorrow morning, where we just see a bounce back up on Tesla, once towards 170, and then we go from there. Okay, so just be on the lookout for that. Still pretty bearish on this thing. I do think it has more downside, but right now, if I'm just strictly going by a potential rejection off this bull flag, we could see a move like this, maybe head towards 184, not 184, 180, maybe retest 184 real quick, and then head back lower towards that 150 range, potentially filling that gap. Let me actually double check and see if there is a gap. Okay, well, somebody's been telling, people been saying there's a gap somewhere. I'm not going to take the time out in this video to find it, but if there is a gap, just be on the lookout for that. That gap has been acting like it seems like the gap has been acting like a magnet. It's somewhere. It is somewhere. There it is. Okay. So, yeah, it seems like this gap down here has been acting like a magnet. Let's actually zoom in and see where that gap is. So this gap at around 140, we'll say 145, 148 range, is pretty much acting like a magnet. It seems like Tesla's or whoever is just trying to constantly push out bad news in order to just continue to push Tesla down. So be on the lookout for that as far as Tesla goes. All right. Again, tomorrow, I think we could see some type of decent upside on Tesla before potentially the next leg down. So be on the lookout for that. Right now, I'm just looking at 170. I'm in some YOLO calls for tomorrow, like 170 calls. They were really cheap, and I'm just pretty much playing with profit at that point. It wasn't a legit play. If you're a Discord member watching this, it wasn't a legit play or anything like that. It was just something me just playing around with. That's all. Other than that, that's all I really have on Tesla. Pretty bearish on it, but again, we could see some type of a pullback heading into tomorrow, or dead cat bounce, sympathy bounce, whatever you want to call it. Microsoft. Microsoft is probably one of my favorite plays right now. I really, really like Microsoft. As you guys can see, we have been trading in this range, and Microsoft has a habit of doing this. It just trades in a range, takes off, trades in a range, takes off. So, as you guys can see, we are trading in this range. I would like to see us break back into this rising wedge channel here, as you guys can see. And we've been continuously rejecting this trend line here over, well, not over and over, but a decent amount of times. And it looks like Microsoft wants to break past it. But if it just so happens not to, we are in 470 calls for April 19th, I believe. Currently in profit, we got in around 422. I would have liked to get in at a break of 415, but I missed that train. But that's completely fine. So right now, as far as what I'm looking at on Microsoft, if we do get some type of upside tomorrow morning, I'm looking at a move towards 430, and then after that, looking at a move towards 435. Probably won't hold much longer than that. I am really bullish on Microsoft long term. I do think it has the potential to squeeze even higher, even here, right? And Microsoft does this all the time. Okay, so let's just mark this out. Microsoft will trade in a range, just consolidate over and over and over, and then go bananas. Just go berserk, right? Even back here, trades in a range, goes berserk. And it just, you see this all the time. It just constantly does this over and over. At least as of recently, Microsoft just does that over and over. Trades in a range, breaks out, goes crazy. Trades in a range, breaks out, goes crazy. So long term, I do expect Microsoft to head towards 500. I think I'm just really bullish on it. And today has shown that. The market was just dropping off pretty decent, and Microsoft was just holding its ground. So that is signs of a potential continuation to the upside. We break back in this trend at around 430. Then we're looking at a move towards 435. Midterm target is 450 if you want to, take a chance on that. But long term, I'm looking at 500 on Microsoft. Simple as that. As far as downside, if Microsoft just so happens to break back below 418, then I'll probably, take myself out the trade or start trimming profit on the way down if we just so happen to open red tomorrow. So keep an eye out on Microsoft, really bullish on it. Again, it does the same thing over. It just repeats the same pattern over. Goes crazy. I mean, consolidates, goes crazy. Consolidates, goes crazy, so on and so forth. So Microsoft just a no-brainer play. I mean, it's pretty noob friendly if you got the capital for it, of course. And Google. Google, really liking Google. Have a price target of 145. I think I went over this last video, or maybe I just showed it in the Discord. Can't remember for sure. But this is just super clean. I mean, this is really clean. I'm kind of mad I didn't get in this trade, but I was in a lot of trades and I didn't want to over leverage myself. But I mean, this is just so clean, guys. If I did go over this last video and you missed this opportunity, I don't even know what to tell you. But break, retest. I mean, so clean, so clean. I mean, this was such a beautiful play. I'm just really upset that I didn't get in this trade. I was looking at it and I'm just like, I got to follow my own rules, and it's important you follow your own rules and be disciplined. I made so much today. I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna just relax and sit back and just watch. But it's playing out so clean. Again, price target for this is 145, 146. You could be looking at a move towards 149, depending on what the market gives you. We have a lot of gaps to the upside. At least the first gap is around 147.5, and then after that, you're looking at a move towards 150. Google just looks really good here. I mean, that's pretty much all I can say about it. It's just that's it. Okay, so watch for that potential move if we just so happen to open bullish tomorrow morning. As far as downside, if it breaks back below 139, then you could be back in this channel and see more downside on Google. And by then, I'm assuming the market is pretty bearish. Okay. VIX. VIX, we continue to make. Where is it? So VIX filled this gap at around 415. If I can find it. Regardless, okay, VIX, it filled the gap. Okay, not 415. Where did I get 415 from? 15. So VIX filled the gap at around 15. It's probably on a much smaller time frame. Let's actually see. So there's a fair value gap somewhere around here, but regardless, VIX filled the gap and it just went back in this range. Okay. I went over this last video. VIX just has a habit of going in this range over and over again. Let's go to the 4 hour. So as you guys can see, it'll go in this range, break out, go back in this range, break out or break down, whatever you want to call it, goes back in this range. And you just see it over and over and over again. And right now we're back in this range. And I mean the VIX is really good at telling you what direction the market is going or potentially going. It just does the same thing over and over. Goes in this range, break out. If it breaks down, you know the market is potentially going up and vice versa. So I would recommend marking this range out on your charts because it's really good. Okay, it's really good. I'm not a fan of the VIX. I prefer the SQs, but I mean this thing just it's a cheat code. It gives you the cheat codes, all right? SQs SQs attempted. I was really getting excited here. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. SQs made an attempt to break out of this falling wedge. Let's show you guys how it looks zoomed out. I'm in like 20 contracts. I'll probably add more on this thing, long contracts on this thing. I'm expecting, if it would, and I was getting a little bit excited here for this breakout. Again, you want to see SQs break above 11.5. I know people have been asking me about it and seeing if I'm still in the contracts. Again, this is a hedge play. I'm not expecting, anything crazy, but if it happens, it happens. This is just to hedge against any calls I do. But 11.5 is where you want to see a break above. After that, you're looking at a move towards 11.70, 11.75, and then you're looking at a move towards 12. So if it breaks out of this range, then there's room for concern in the market. Okay, so 11.5 is your target for SQs. If we just so happen to head lower, then obviously we're expecting the market to go up. If you don't know, the SQs moves inverse of the market, and we could see a move as low as 9.8, 9.5. Okay. When that happens, I don't know. It may happen short term, it may happen long term, but just keep an eye out on that. Mark this out on your charts. Very tough level. Very, very tough trend here. Okay. And I believe that is NVIDIA. I always forget to go over NVIDIA. Simply because I just don't trade it like that anymore. I just prefer like SOXL and AMD and things like that, Intel. So Nvidia, Nvidia is showing this is just very telling of just how much the Qs is following exactly what Nvidia is doing. So, or even the market in general. So, as you guys can see, we broke below this. We rejected this trend, and over, we continue to reject this trend. That's the point here. We finally broke above it, and bears stepped back in. Okay, so bulls are strong, but bears are also strong here as well. Okay, we've continued to see Nvidia go up. Now, I personally think that Nvidia can see 1,000. I believe they have like some AI conference next week that we could see 1,000 leading into that. Maybe they announce a stock split or whatever the case may be. But Nvidia, again, doesn't look too strong here. You want to see a break. I mean, not a break, a hold above 870 in order to remain bullish. Me personally, I would like to see a move towards 823 at around this range to fill up this, not around here, around here. I want to see a move towards 823, fill this gap up a bit before the next leg up. Okay. So NVIDIA's in a weird territory here. Me personally, I'm just not going to touch it until we get further dip down. And then we could potentially see a move towards 1,000. Let's actually look at unusual wells real quick. See if we see anything. Yeah. Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah. Nvidia might go crazy. I don't know. It's looking. We got 900 call, 950 call, 880, 910, 1500. That sucks. Yeah, never mind. Don't pay attention to that. 880, 925. So Yeah, Nvidia is looking like somebody's expecting something for a video. We got a 1300 call for what is this, June 21st? So yeah, pay attention to Nvidia. It looks like we may see some action soon, depending on based off unusual wells here. But other than that, that's really all I have. In future videos, I will start going over Bitcoin and crypto and things of that nature. I just haven't figured out how to implement it in the videos because I try to keep my videos short. Granted, this video wasn't really as short as I thought it would be. But yeah, that's all I have. Discord link is in the description below. I'll be going over trades that I took this week and trades that we took this week, how much we profited, things of that nature in my next video. So I'll try to do that every Friday. We go over what we did this week. So far, we're only at like 2 losses this week and like 8, 9 wins. So yeah, we'll be going over that tomorrow in the Discord, or not in the Discord, but in the next video. So check that. Be on the lookout for that. But other than that, that's all I have, guys. Like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below, whether you agree or disagree, and I will see you in the next video. Till then, have a good one, traders.